Hello, everybody. How are you doing on this fine Sunday? I'm doing it quite well. Hold on one second. I can't give away my new set. Oh my God. Hold on. Let me show y'all something else. No. Okay. Okay. Whew. All right. Okay. So what I thought we would talk about today is the Diddy docket does have some new documents. So let me talk about that first. Then we're going to move on from that. I have a little bit of an interjection. And then from there, I want to do, there's been some stuff going on with the Wendy Williams situation. So I had covered it a while back. We'll get into all that, but I want to venture back into the Wendy Williams land. So I thought we could look at some of the court documents for that. Okay. So hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Yeah, like I don't know what all is going on with it. So we're going to just get into the documents. Definitely will not be able to get all the way fully caught up today on Wendy, but excuse me. We'll start. It'll be a start. Okay, so let me show you the Diddy docket. Okay, so we have done coverage on all these. The most recent video that I put out ended, it was like 98 through 102. It was document 98 through document 102 on the Diddy docket. And then what is this? Okay, that doesn't have a number. Okay. And so there have been two more filings. One of them, all of them were filed on the 6th, but then there's this other one that's like not, I don't know why it's not numbered. I have to look more into that in a second. Okay, so there were two of them filed on December 6th. So we're going to start with document number 103, the memo endorsement. It's a letter, motion, and then endorsement granted the clerk of court. Okay. So this is why I wanted to do another topic with this, because this isn't even really enough to do a whole video on, and I probably wouldn't. But I have some other stuff to talk to y'all about, namely the Wendy stuff. So let me just show y'all this document. This is document, oh no, we already had 100. What the heck? Hold on. Notice of appearance 104. What happened to the 103 one? Huh. Well, shoot, we're going to have to track this one down. Okay. My files got a little disheveled here. Okay, so let's just go to 104, which is a notice of appearance, and then I'm going to need to track down the other one. Okay, hold on. Oops. I had mislabeled the two files. Confused. All right, here's 104. This one is a notice of appearance. And we are getting another prosecutor on the case. Okay, so remember that we just now saw the public, as in we just now saw Maureen Comey, which is like a former FBI director's daughter, who this Maureen girl, she also was a lawyer, a prosecutor on Ghislaine Maxwell. That's how I'm going to pronounce it from now on right now till I change my mind. So Maureen Comey came on. So now we're getting yet another prosecutor coming on the case. Olga Zverovich, ZVERO. So like zero, but with a V in between the Z and the E. Zverovich. Okay. So this is document 104. This is, like I said, not the most groundbreaking of updates. What's the easiest way to I don't know what to do. I definitely downloaded this document. Okay. I'm just gonna get it. Just give me a second. I'll get document number 103 because I'd mislabeled document 100 as 103. Okay, here it is. Okay. So this document we saw before, see that's like 103 and 100 up there. I had mislabeled it, but it actually is 103. And it is the court granting the judges, the government's proposed schedule. So if you watched my most recent Diddy Docket video, there was a little bit of a disagreement about over the timing, like how much time the government should have to file their response to this Diddy legal pad memo crap or whatever. The judge just went ahead and granted it. Okay. So those are the two Diddy updates. Document 103 is this one we're looking at right now. It's an order. The judge is ordering the next like few things that are all due and stuff in relation to this legal pad, keeping the legal communications private, the Sixth Amendment and all that. So there's going to be like a hearing. There's going to be a whatever it's supposed to be. I don't know, at some point eventually. They're doing all this scheduling. They're going back and forth. The judge didn't want to hear it. He just granted it over to the government's side on that one. And then, of course, the other document, number 104, was Olga Zverovich. She's also going to be one of the new feds coming in. Hello, shout out to Oklahoma Outlaw. Shout out to Down the Rabbit Hole News in the chat. Shout out to Diamond Rainbow in the chat. Who else is in here? Birmingham Leprechaun. That is the funniest name. Shout out to you. YouTube failed to notify you again. Y'all got to make sure you got that bell on and all that. I don't even know what that bell does, really. I just say it. I don't really know if it does anything. Hello. Truth teller. Hello. Welcome. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to talk about to be the Wendy Williams situation, but before we do that, I do want to inform you that this is a sponsored video you're watching. I am the sponsor. Okay. This is a sponsored video. So this is my sponsorship. And it's about this merch right here. Okay. So see this Facts Ain't Defamation merch right here. This is a little bit misleading because it's sold out. You can't buy it no more. And also same as this. See how it says sold out. And it's going to be very soon. These two are going to be sold out. Actually, any moment now, if tomorrow's the last day, I don't know. Well, December 8th. Yeah. Today's the last day or tomorrow's the last day. Yeah, for sure. If you're going to order it. Okay. This is the sponsored part of the video, sponsored by me. If you don't want to be sitting here feeling sad that there's a sold out under one of these gorgeous, beautiful, look at this. It says BJ Investigates right there and they lied. You could have this hoodie. Alternatively, there is a shirt. Now this shirt, I really like it. It's 100% cotton. The sweatshirt's almost 100% cotton, but you got to put a little elastic around the waist or else it's like not going to be. Look at that, how cute BJ Investigates up there. All right. This is a sponsored ad right here for my own merch. Okay. All right. So now let's go to Wendy. Oh, mods. thatsurprisewitness.com is where y'all got to go, but there's also a link in the chat below. And you can also, probably the mods are going to put them in there right now. Okay. So before we even start talking about a court document, I got to tell y'all, you can't make a video about Wendy Williams without giving a little bit of credit where it's due right here with the Chronicle Speaks YouTube channel. Chronicle Speaks is your go-to place. If you want to keep up with Wendy Williams, you want to keep up with what's going on in the court, out the court, up, down, all around. Chronicle Speaks is your place to go. It's going to be a lot of me talking about stuff that Chronicle Speaks has probably been talking about since October. Okay, that shout out to Chronicle Speaks work, and y'all go over there and subscribe. And I did link her channel in the description. Now, that being said, I have not had a chance to watch very much of her coverage, especially lately. So if I'm saying something she already said, credit where it's due. If I'm saying something maybe I didn't hear her say already, and maybe I'm not going to be able to give credit or whatever. But yes, Chronicle Speaks is the place to go about the Wendy Williams. Okay, that's the place. So over here, what I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to be reading some documents and kind of getting a little bit reacquainted with the Wendy Williams story because I had started covering it. I believe it was all the way back in 2022. Okay. I'd started covering it because one of my areas of particular interest is guardianships, high profile guardianships, celebrity guardianships, just like how the guardianship system and legal mechanism, and also could be known as a conservatorship. And it also could be known as some other stuff, as we'll maybe get into today. But as far as the legal mechanism of it, this is something that I'm interested in. And so I was looking into it whenever it started to become public knowledge that Wendy Williams' bank, her bank, Wells Fargo, had petitioned for a guardianship, for the initiation of some guardianship hearings or something. And so there was this lady put in charge as the guardian named Lori Schiller, if I remember correctly. And it was not her family member. It's not Wendy's family member. It was, I don't even know. I think it was her banker, her like investment, like, the person that was responsible for her investment accounts. I think, I don't know. This is speculation because they ended up making, okay. So for like the first week or two, I'm doing this off memory from like 2 years ago. Okay. So like, but it's just from my memory. For the first like week or two, you could get the documents from the guardianship. Like you could get the documents that were filed. I mean, I think they probably were redacted or whatever too, but you could get them, like it was public record. But then after just a short amount of time, you could not get these documents anymore. The guardian or somebody had moved to seal the documents of the Wendy Williams guardianship case. Okay. And that was in the New York Superior, I don't know, New York. That was in like New York state level court or whatever. Then February this year, 2024, this docu-series comes out on Lifetime A&E. I think you can still see it on Prime, Amazon Prime, but this series comes out. Where is Wendy Williams? Okay. Now, if you're asking me, did I watch it? Did I finish it and all that? No, I watched I believe it was the first 2 episodes I watched about. I think it's 4 of them. And it was just so hard to watch. I mean, I didn't find it to be entertaining. And I also didn't find it to be particularly educational beyond the point that I needed to get, which I feel like I got in the first 2 episodes of like something is amiss. And I'll tell y'all my opinion. What I walked away from, like, I didn't like swear off watching the next episodes, right? It's not like I was like, and I never watched it again. It's just like when I sit down to watch TV, I haven't been able to bring myself to press play on episode 3, if you know what I mean. So it's like, I just, it's like time goes by. The documents are sealed. So it's like, I can't even see what's going on anyway. And I'm not your YouTuber over here that's really at the time being right now going to be over here, doing a whole bunch of private, behind the scenes interviews with anybody. I'm not going to be over here trying to like, have a bunch of people on my channel all the time and stuff. Like, I like to look at documents. I like to look at the public record, and I like to, just do it that way because I want to show y'all what you could do from your house. You don't need to have a YouTube channel to find some of this stuff out. Right. So because the documents were private and stuff, I'm just like, oh, I just kind of like lost track of the case. Well, I'm going to pull some of the documents up in a minute, so we'll be able to have a more like solid timeline or whatever. But let me see. I actually have a little Wendy Web, because I do have a BJ Investigates coming out on this topic, but not about like, I'm going to be going into a lot more specifics today than what's going to be on the BJ Investigates. But here's the Wendy like web. And this is like, the Guardian. So it was October of this year. Okay. October of this year. Oh, excuse me. I needed to complete my thought. Okay. So one thing did stand out to me from the 2 episodes, and that was, I might have watched 2.5 or something too. I mean, I might have even had all 4 play, but I wasn't really paying that close attention on the 3rd and 4th. But it was like I had a hard time to watch the second half of them. But one question I did have the whole time I was asking, where's this guardian? Like, isn't it her job to be like in charge of Wendy Williams's health, well-being, whereabouts, Like, I mean, y'all know, I maybe y'all don't know, I have like very strong feelings about the guardianship mechanism and structure at all, and I especially have huge problems with how I see it abused, right? Like, to just take over people's whole lives and steal their stuff, and like, not every time, but like, y'all, I mean, you'll be hard pressed to find one that doesn't have a little bit of it. In my opinion, in my experience, in my opinion, as a non-expert. But once you have so many conflicts of interest involved, think about it this way. Everybody who's getting paid in the guardianship, including the judges that get paid to sit and bang a gavel over what happens to somebody like, Wendy Williams's money, everybody getting paid, it depends on the person being in the guardianship. So they really don't have any personal interest to like not have the person in the guardianship. Do you see kind of what I'm saying? And so the guardian isn't going to be in there necessarily like isn't incentivized. The guardians in these situations are not incentivized to advocate for the freedom and the well-being in that way of the well-being of the person, right? In their incentives, the way that the structures are set up, the incentives are for the guardians financially, the incentives are set up for the guardians to have a financial more money if the person has less rights, because that puts them in charge of more of that person's rights. And then y'all, I mean, I've said it before, not to ruffle feathers or anything, but I really am having a hard time differentiating what this is from slavery. I'm sorry. We have someone coming, your bank. I mean, even Wells Fargo has the little, stage coaches on it. You could just imagine it being back in that day. And it's like, oh, y'all, everybody listen up. This famous lady, we don't like how she's spending her money. So we're the bank. We're going to initiate a proceeding, a legal proceeding. Let's not call it a guardianship. Okay. Let's just call it a legal proceeding. We're going to go tell a judge a petition to take this person's rights away. We're going to grant the rights to somebody that's not her family member, who she didn't necessarily consent to like having control of all of that. And not only are we going to do that, we're going to then transfer it from Lori Schiller to Sabrina Morrissey, who's depicted here. And this person can and does, according to public reporting, block Wendy Williams's access not only to her money, which is bad enough, but her ability to travel, her ability to contact and be in touch with her own family. Her medical treatments, from what I understand, like, she goes to rehabs and stuff. I don't know if she has the legal authority to consent to that. Okay, so I mean, it's kind of weird to me, and it has always been weird to me. And in 4 years reporting on this stuff, it hasn't stopped being weird to me. Okay. How many people got a drunk uncle? How many, it's a trope at this point. I'm not making that allegation against Wendy, but I'm saying that the fact that she has struggled, and including on camera now, with alcohol, abuse or whatever, is being leveraged as a reason to take away her rights, which I don't believe it was. Okay. So this is where we are in the web. Okay. So back in October this year, so 2 months ago, this guardian filed a lawsuit against A&E. Actually, let me just pull it up. So that if you're listening on the podcast, that concludes the Diddy docket. Thank you. We're moving into the Wendy version of beep. It's the Wendy Williams portion of the presentation. Okay, so let me get the Wendy Williams the complaint. I'm going to pull up the document that guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, had filed in October. Okay, the lawsuit. I'm going to bring it up. Now, importantly, this was filed. This is the amended complaint. Okay. Okay. So yeah, October 3rd. I haven't even made it through this whole thing. It's 75 pages, and I can't make you any promises of how much we're going to get through. Okay. But we got to start somewhere. You just got to start somewhere. So here we're starting here. Okay. Just pulling it up. There you go. All right. Okay. So this is a publicly filed document. It's a public record. It's a public document. Okay. As you can see, this was filed in October. Now, this one that we're looking at right now, this one was before it was transferred to federal court. Now it has been transferred to federal court. SDNY. Same place where the Diddy stuff is all being tried. So not that this is related to that other than, tangentially. And the fact that Wendy and Diddy have their own entanglements, professionally, personally, and otherwise. And I have made videos about that. So y'all can go check those out. Also, check out Chronicle Speaks, like I said. So this was filed in the New York County Clerk. Now, court. This case, the jurisdiction of this case has now been moved, but I just wanted to point to that here. Okay, Sabrina Morrissey, that's the guardian, okay? Acting in her capacity as guardian of Wendy. See, she just puts this WWH. I'm just going to say Wendy, okay? So Sabrina, acting as Wendy's guardian, files this verified amended complaint against who? Okay, so these are the defendants, as you can see right here. A&E television networks, okay? Entertainment One Reality Productions, which is E1 is what they calling it in here. So when you see E1, it's Entertainment One Reality Productions. And then she's also suing Sabrina Lifetime Entertainment Services and Creature Films. I mean, these people can come up with some names for these documentary film companies. And then also finally, the final defendant is a man by the name of Mark Ford. Okay. So she is suing all these people upon personal knowledge as to her own conduct and upon information and belief with respect to the conduct of others. The Guardian alleges the following. Number one, this case arises from the brutally calculated, deliberate actions of powerful and cravenly opportunistic media companies working together with a producer to knowingly exploit Wendy Williams, an acclaimed African-American entertainer who tragically suffers from dementia and as a result has become cognitively impaired, permanently disabled, and legally incapacitated. Okay, so that was her first paragraph. This is the Guardian. This 2 months ago, she filed this lawsuit against these people, right? A&E, Lifetime, Creature Films, E1, Mark Ford, all the rest. The next paragraph of Sabrina's lawsuit goes on. Eager to sensationalize and profit from Wendy's cognitive and physical decline, defendants took advantage of Wendy in the cruelest, most obscene way possible for their own financial gain in a manner that truly shocks the conscience. Okay, this is Sabrina. She's pulling out all the stops. Defendants created and published a stomach-turning 4-part documentary entitled Where is Wendy Williams?, which was filmed without a valid contract and released without the Guardian's consent. Okay, so do y'all see why she's upset? They didn't have a valid contract, and she did not give Wendy Williams permission. She did, all this was done without the Guardian's consent. You see, we're going to get into a lot more examples of how it's just kind of like, does it really sit right with you? Like, put aside for a second, does Wendy Williams have problems? Does Wendy Williams have even truly have these diagnoses that she's being alleged? Like, it just, think about it like that. Okay. As is patently obvious from the very first few minutes of the program itself, Wendy was highly vulnerable and clearly incapable of consenting to being filmed, much less humiliated and exploited. When the guardian discovered, so Sabrina's saying, when I discovered, Your Honor, when the guardian, the one who was supposed to be taking care of Wendy, making sure she wasn't getting exploited and all of that, when I discovered the exploiting that was going on for however long, that I didn't know about, that's what she's saying right here. That their true intentions were to portray Wendy in a highly demeaning and embarrassing manner. The guardian says she immediately sought to protect Wendy and to preserve her dignity. So the question comes to my mind, y'all. Seriously, I'm not on anybody's side yet. I've read, the first paragraph and a half, but what I can say is that is just the resounding question in my mind. How did it get this far? I don't pretend to know how much money per month, day, week, year. I don't know. How much is Sabrina making? Maybe she's making none. Okay. I highly doubt it, but maybe she's making none. I don't know. However much it is, it's, maybe none, maybe $0. Sabrina has a legal duty to make sure that Wendy Williams isn't exploited. Indeed, that is the whole freaking reason that we allow something as extreme as stripping someone of their fundamental rights and liberties, like to enter into contracts, to travel. These are fundamental constitutional rights. Courts take them from people and they give them to other people. And the reason is because that person, not every time, right? But like in some cases, you only need to have one reason. And the one reason can be the person is vulnerable to exploitation, like dementia, Alzheimer's. They'll give the same, beggar or whatever, $5 over and over again or whatever, same grandkid, $5 over and over again, whatever. Because they're vulnerable to exploitation, it's worth the extreme step of putting someone else in charge of their rights, right? So in this case, we have done so. We have allowed that to happen in a society. I mean, it's happened. We have Sabrina Morrissey in charge of Wendy Williams's some of her rights and seemingly her money. And I don't know, maybe not. Maybe Lori Schiller is still in charge of the money. I don't know. It's all sealed. It's all sealed. But we have such an extreme measure having been taken. And yet still Sabrina didn't do her job. And now, because Sabrina didn't do her job, which is like Wendy Williams is in a freaking conservatorship or guardianship, whatever you want to call it, because she's vulnerable to exploitation, because she has these dementia, frontal temporal dementia and all of this, right? I mean, that's what I've been told in the media. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. The only Angie, no, it was not. Only Angie said it was filmed before the Guardian was in place. No, maybe some of it. A lot of it was filmed when she was in place. Indeed, it is a plot point in the docuseries that the Guardians didn't know where she was. Or the Guardian, whatever. Let's read further. Defendants sought to move ahead and release the program over the weekend of February 24th and 25th, 2024. Not surprisingly, the public reacted with disgust and revulsion at defendants' blatant and vicious exploitation of Wendy. By willfully taking advantage of a severely impaired, incapacitated person, defendants have made millions on Wendy's back, while Wendy has received a paltry $82,000. She then moves to her next, subpoint or whatever. And this is Wendy's tragic and widely publicized cognitive and physical decline. Now, I would like, because this is, my commentary, I'm trying to add the commentary here. I would like for y'all to pay attention to how much this Sabrina Morrissey guardian woman concentrates and focuses on the media coverage, okay? She's going to rely on rumors. She's going to rely on tabloids. She's going to rely on, dare I say, TMZ. She's going to rely to build her argument. She's going to build her house on a house of tabloids and rumors, okay? And I want to point it out before so that we can point to a clue, okay? It's one of the things that ain't sitting right with me, okay? So here we have A, Wendy's tragic and widely publicized cognitive and physical decline. Okay. First sentence is paragraph 3. Hailed as a quote, genuine trailblazer in multiple media formats. Wendy is a prominent and accomplished broadcaster who has earned her icon status through her highly successful 30-year multimedia career. Okay, I agree with that. This is The Guardian saying this, okay? From 2008 through mid-2021, Wendy solo hosted and executive produced one of the most watched daily television talk shows in the United States. Leveraging her intellectual prowess and fearlessness as an interviewer, as well as her prodigious people skills, I think it's prodigious, people skills and authenticity to build a large and loyal fan base. Wendy was known for her glamorous appearance, including her trademark wigs. This wigs thing comes back up later, so just, note. Her encyclopedic knowledge of celebrity culture and her strong connection with her audience and her loyal fans. Wendy famously hosted her daily talk show for many years with extemporaneous repartee, relying on her extraordinary intelligence and ability to communicate in a highly engaging and entertaining manner. I would agree with this. This is all, Wendy Williams. During her long career in the spotlight, while it is hardly surprising that Wendy's statements were sometimes controversial, no one can deny her remarkable contributions to media and to pop culture. Indeed, she popularized a number of well-known phrases over the years that remain a part of pop culture today, including her famous greeting, "How you doing?" In or around January, so now we're on paragraph 4. In or around January 2019, in the wake of the devastating public news, in the wake of the devastating public news, we're in January 2019 and some devastating public news is afoot. The devastating public news is that Wendy's then husband, is it Kevin or Kelvin Hunter? Her husband at the time and her business partner had fathered a child with another woman, and they were still married. They were still together. Okay. Wendy took a 6-week leave from her television show, Hello, reportedly going to seek care at a rehabilitation facility in Florida. Pull your bingo card out. We got the Florida Rehabilitation Center. Merry-go-round coming back up. This is partially what the BJ Investigates is going to be about, so I don't want to get too in the weeds on this part. But anyway, put a 1 in the chat if you know. So Wendy finds out her husband's fathering or had fathered a child with another woman. She takes a 6-week leave from the Wendy show. This is 2019. And then she goes seek care at a rehab in Florida. During that stay, her son and the husband were reportedly told by, reportedly. See this? Reportedly. Okay. This was filed in the New York state courts or whatever, but now this is a federal lawsuit. All right. Federal. They're in a federal lawsuit land over a very famous person's estate. Okay. And this lady, Sabrina Morrissey, is focusing and relying her arguments, laying the foundations for her arguments on reports. Okay. Reports, not medical records. Reports. During the time she was in Florida at a rehab, I'm just wondering if it's an amen clinic. That's what I'm wondering. During that stay, her son and her then husband were reportedly told by treating healthcare professionals. Now, who? A doctor? Was it somebody with an MD? That's what I want to know, because a treating healthcare professional could be the janitor. I don't know. During the stay, her son and husband were reportedly told by someone that Wendy had brain damage. And so what's the report? What's the report? Oh, it's OK Magazine. All right, we're in federal court. And OK Magazine said that the son and the husband were told that she had brain damage. That's the fourth paragraph of the whole entire lawsuit that Sabrina's filing. That's what she's building the foundation on. Like, I mean, what? Like, they shouldn't have called the documentary "Where's Wendy Williams." They should have called it "What's Wrong with Wendy Williams," because even in their own lawsuit, they can't really figure it out. Jasmine, don't even get me started. I'm like, was she using aura? I don't know. I wasn't there. So brain damage, but brain damage in and of itself, like that's not a diagnosis, you know. I mean, it can be anything, brain damage. The lawsuit goes on. For those of y'all just joining, this is Wendy Williams's guardian is suing over that documentary, the A&E Lifetime documentary. And the suit is for all kind of stuff, but it's like 75 pages long. It's like each one of the defendants has done responded. Those are like 80 pages long. So this is going to be a long series, but we're starting today. And this is page 3 of 75 of Wendy Williams's guardian suing over the documentary. Suing over the documentary. Okay. So paragraph 5, sadly, Wendy's cognitive functioning and physical condition only continued to decline. As the host of a popular daily talk show at the time, Wendy's difficulties were often captured on camera. Again, rumors, the next paragraph 6, rumors. This is her guardian. Hello. Rumors swirled in the press regarding Wendy's increasingly erratic behavior. As early as 2021, press reports attributed these changes to early onset dementia. So we are talking about rumors and press reports to take away someone's rights. Don't you love it here where we live? And this is just normal. And this is just what they say is supposed to happen. No. Rumors swirled in the press regarding her increasingly erratic behavior. As early as 2021, press reports attributed these changes to early onset dementia. So we're not even talking about a press report about somebody telling somebody that maybe it was a health professional at this point. We're just talking about a straight up press report. And look at the oh my God, look at the sources. Wendy Williams is allegedly confined to a wheelchair and showing early signs of dementia. Hot97.com. Keenan Higgins. Are we seeing even, the Hollywood gossip? This is what her guardian is citing as proof. I'm not sure this person has the mental capacity to be in charge of her own lawsuit, citing the freaking Hollywood gossip. So I don't know how in the hell on earth she got appointed to be Wendy Williams. That's what I want to know. Hold on a second. I need to send a text. Hold on. Okay, so she spent several months. We're on paragraph 8. By late 2021, she was so cognitively impaired. Okay, so this was quick. 2019. Okay, this is weird. Hold on. Let's gather our thoughts. Hold on. January 2019. Lima. See what I mean? January 2019, Wendy goes to rehab. She finds out her husband's fathered a child with another woman. She goes to rehab, seemingly, presumably because she's upset about it. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with each other. Maybe it doesn't, but it was put in the same sentence in this lawsuit. So Wendy finds out her husband's been two-timing. Then she goes to rehab in Florida. She's told in rehab that she has brain damage. Could it be holes in the brain? Could it be? She's told in rehab that she has brain damage, reported by OK Magazine. Reportedly, that then gets relayed to her family. This is January 2019. And by 2021, she's so cognitively impaired. She had lost so much executive capability that she was no longer capable of managing her own personal ka-ching affairs. Cha-ching. Okay. Okay. I'm listening. I'm following. Paragraph 9. She spent several months with her family in Florida toward the end of 2021 and into early 2022. So the end of 2021, beginning of 2022, she's in Florida with her family. Okay. In May 2023, Wendy was diagnosed. Okay, so now this is something that's not just a report. Okay, this is, let me make sure there's no footnote. Okay, yes. Okay, so this isn't an OK Magazine. This is being purported as news. As facts. In May 2023, Wendy was diagnosed by doctors. So May last year and a half ago, she was diagnosed by doctors with a condition called frontotemporal lobe dementia and another thing called primary progressive aphasia. Cruel, I'm quoting, cruel, debilitating, and progressive neurodegenerative. Do they mean neurodegenerative diseases? Because neurodegenerative means the opposite of what I think they're trying to say. Neurodegenerative means it's like generating, generate, versus neurodegenerative, which is something that degenerates. Degenerative. You see what I mean? No? Okay. So she's diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia, frontotemporal lobe dementia, and primary progressive aphasia. Okay. So these two things. Aphasia is something about your communication, and dementia, I think, has to do with perception, but I really don't know. Okay. So these are apparently these like cruel diseases that cause apparent behavioral changes and gradually rob their victims of the ability to communicate at all. Oh my God, that's terrifying. Often significantly shortens life expectancy, and Wendy is only 60 years old. Okay, so that's the end of that section. Now we're going to talk about the Wendy Williams guardianship proceeding. We're on section B, subsection B. We just finished up A. Okay, this is paragraph 11. By January 2022, Wells Fargo employees, okay, Wells, listen up. Who's the subject of the sentence? Wells Fargo employees. Doctors, no. Family members, no. Managers, no. Agents, no. Children, no. Mom and daddy, no. Employees at the freaking bank. The bank employees, okay? The bank employees. Okay, that's the subject of the sentence. Just keep that in mind. Had documented a pattern of unusual and disturbing events. Wendy's welfare and finances, which led them, concerning Wendy's welfare and finances that led them to fear. Okay, that's fine. They can have a fear, no problem yet. To fear that Wendy had already been taken advantage of. So this is January 2022, just 2 years after she finds out her husband had fathered the baby with the other woman. Okay. The bank employees at the freaking bank, her employees by literal freaking definition, feared. They had a fear. An emotion. Did it say that they had a fact? Nope. Fear. That Wendy had already been taken advantage of and would be subject to financial abuse in the future. Could be in the future. It hasn't even freaking happened yet. This person's rights are at stake. I don't care if you don't like Wendy Williams. If this can happen to Wendy Williams, it can happen to your mom, your grandma, or you. The bank employees might just not like that you spent, too much on Uber Eats last month. How's that going to go for you? That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. They developed a fear. Did they develop evidence? No. If they had evidence, don't you think this freaking guardian would say that? If they had evidence, don't you think this freaking guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, would say? In January 2022, Wells Fargo employees made the frightening discovery of evidence that Wendy had already been taken advantage of. Nope. They had documented a pattern of events concerning Wendy's welfare and finances, which led them to fear she had already been taken advantage of and would be subject in the future. So now they're psychics at the bank. The Wells Fargo employees are psychics. As a result of these troubling incidents, Wells Fargo initiated guardianship proceedings, redacted, also reported redacted, and therefore took the extraordinary and highly unusual step of initiating a guardianship proceeding on its own. The bank initiated a guardianship proceeding to take away one of its customers' rights. This should not be allowed by law, in my opinion. Especially because you don't really have the option. You don't really have the option when you have all this fame and money that you have to have a bank. This is just so beyond acceptable, in my opinion. So they petitioned for a guardianship under the New York mental hygiene law, asking the court to appoint a guardian for her financial affairs, given concerns about the release of protected medical and financial information. The court sealed the proceeding. So then that's where I was talking about earlier when, I first started. It's like I can't get the documents anymore over there. All this redacted. Look at all that we don't know. Using our systems to take away people's God-given constitutional and alienable rights, but we can't even see what they're freaking doing. Wendy Williams has already lost it all. She's already lost her rights. And they're doing this. Oh, we're trying to preserve her dignity. Her private information of her rights. Just freaking. Paragraph 16 is partially redacted, but then it does pick up. Nonetheless, the existence of the guardianship proceeding was leaked to the media. Wonder who could have leaked it. I don't know. As early as May 2022, it was widely publicized that the court had established guardianship for Wendy Williams. This is not how I remember it happening. I don't know if this is true. This is not how I remember it happening. Maybe Chronicle Speaks could chime in because I know she has a much clearer memory of all of this stuff. But the way I remember it was public. The guardianship proceedings were public. At least the documents were. And then they got sealed. Because I have some of them. From when they were public. Okay, I'm not even reading that part. Okay, so C, Will Selby. We're going to talk about Will Selby. The Wendy experience in the August 2022 development shoot. Up until her diagnoses, Wendy continued to live in her Manhattan apartment. To provide her with as much normalcy and autonomy as possible under the circumstances as required by Article 81, Wendy saw different medical specialists in New York for treatment of various ailments. Okay, so she was living in her apartment in Manhattan and she was seeing various medical professionals for treatment for various medical, quote, ailments. She had home health caregivers who assisted with her personal needs. Her behavior was at times erratic. As one example, Wendy, okay, so her behavior was erratic. So here's the example. Tell me if you think this is a good example of some erratic behavior that warrants taking someone's rights away. Wendy would regularly discard items in the apartment. including her personal property and food items. Okay, so she would throw stuff away in her own house. Put a 1 in the chat if that's no red flags to you. As one example of the erratic behavior, I mean, read it. Look, it's as one example of the behavior that was at times erratic. Regularly discard items in the apartment, including her personal property and food items. Okay, so freaking what? At times, she would instruct caregivers to leave, insisting she was capable of looking after herself in her own home. So what? Leave. Go away. Why she can't tell people to leave her house? Why you can't even express your own opinion in your own house anymore? Can you even imagine? I would go freaking crazy. I would go insane. I would lose my mind. She would throw stuff away and she would tell the people in her house to leave. So, Sabrina needs a reality check. I'm just so sorry. Paragraph 18. After the guardian was appointed, Will Selby, a jeweler and social media personality, began to hold himself out as Wendy's new manager. Mr. Selby sought to feature Wendy on a podcast, and he created a promotional website to advertise the podcast and sell related merchandise. Okay, that was after the guardian was appointed. Okay, so I'm having questions right here, like, did the guardian approve this or not? Did she sign these contracts or no? Did she know about this or no? Because she doesn't say. It just says he sought to feature her on a podcast, Wendy, and he created a promotional website about it. And it doesn't say he didn't, it doesn't say that he didn't seek the guardian's approval or permission or anything. There's like a lot of missing context here. Paragraph 19. In or around the summer of 2022, defendants E1 Creature Films and Mark Ford began to produce a reality television show about Wendy to air on the Lifetime Network, a cable channel that is part of Defendant Lifetime, which is owned by A&E. In response to concerns expressed by Sabrina Morrissey, the Guardian, so the Guardian expressed some concerns. And in response, this Will Selby manager character told Sabrina, the Guardian, that the program would focus on Wendy's triumphant return to media as she embarked on her new podcast venture. Okay, so Will Selby, according to the Guardian, according to Sabrina, tells the Guardian, this is going to be good for Wendy because it's going to basically be like an ad. It's going to be marketing for her new podcast. And I already got the website set up for the podcast. It's going to be about her triumphant return, and it's going to be basically a puff piece. We're going to manipulate people and make her look good, basically. I mean, look, you can read what, I'm taking some liberties, okay? But said it would focus on her triumphant return podcast venture, that the producers would not exploit Wendy. They would portray her in a positive light. And that Mr. Selby, Will Selby, that manager, would have full creative control over the program. This is a word people like to throw around, but actually going to agree with the Guardian on one point when she asked, right? Because full creative control can mean a lot of different things. So the Guardian asks Will Selby what he means by full creative control. And he says, quote, if I do not want it in the film, they will take it out. Okay. Paragraph 20. During filming, similar representations were made to Wendy's court-appointed attorney. So, once you're in one of these guardianship arrangements situations, you do not get to pick your own attorney anymore for some freaking crazy, beyond me, in my opinion, unconstitutional reason. Okay, I think it's unconstitutional in my opinion. I sure do. But, Wendy got one of those, court appointed, court enforced, and that person gets paid with Wendy's money, by the way. During filming, this court appointed attorney was also, they made similar representations to him or her. Each and every one of these representations was false, Sabrina Morrissey, the Guardian says, and intended to induce Wendy's participation in the show. So they basically lied to Wendy under false pretenses of what Sabrina Morrissey, the Guardian, is saying. And it was meant to assuage the Guardian's justifiable concerns. Paragraph 21, beginning in or on August 2022, over a period of a few days. Okay, so it's August 2022, and over a period of a few days, Mr. Selby facilitated, that's the Will Selby, the manager, facilitated defendants, that's the documentary people, access to Wendy, mostly at her private residence, in order for the defendants to film her. Okay. So again, I raised my question just very shortly, very quickly. Where was the Guardian? A few days went by without this Guardian knowing what was going on. I have questions. Like, namely, what is she doing? What is her job? What's her freaking job? It seems like it's to make sure people aren't coming in and out of Wendy's house for days. But she didn't do that. Paragraph 22, around the same time, August 17th, 2022, The Hollywood Reporter, again, another tabloid. The Hollywood Reporter published an article saying that insiders from Wendy's insiders. Oh my God. A tabloid published some gossip saying that somebody had maybe seen some disturbing incidents during filming, and wherein Wendy was incoherent and production had to be abruptly cut off after mere minutes. I don't know why in the hell this person would even put this in a lawsuit. Moving on. The article, the tabloid, also indicated that medical professionals were trying to determine. They had, and very importantly, not diagnosed Wendy with a damn thing. They were trying to determine what to define the symptom cluster as, y'all. The symptoms were nonlinear speech, brain fog, memory loss, and even hallucinations. And that sources close to Wendy were confident that sources close, so gossip and rumors. Gossip and rumors were confident that the substance abuse was not solely to blame and there was other health issues at play. Defendant Ford and his crew the documentary people were undoubtedly aware of these reports. And yeah, the documentary people should have said, oh, the Hollywood Reporter said dementia. So because of that, I guess we can't make our investigation documentary. Let's pack it up, boys. Like, this is stupid. Sorry, Sabrina. It's just very stupid argument. It's stupid. Yeah, no, seriously. Thanks so much, Elle, for the $2 super chat. Sabrina, thank you for the $4 super sticker. Monique, love your channel. Can you say Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs? Yep, there you go. Thank you for that $10 super chat. Welcome to membership, April. Shout out to you for that. Shout out to the mods in the chat. Shout out to Storm. Who else is in here? Price, Diamond, 11, Hippie Chic, Marie Van Wyck. Okay. So according to Sabrina the Guardian, the documentary crew at Lifetime and A&E should have read one Hollywood Reporter article citing some insiders close to the source, hearsay, and they should have just packed up their documentary. They shouldn't have even said one other thing. They should have just said, nope, we're going home. We can't possibly make our documentary. There was a Hollywood Reporter article. That sounds stupid to me. As discussed further below, Wendy's severe and incapacitating cognitive and physical impairments were immediately apparent to the documentary people when they began filming in August. Indeed, within a month of commencing filming, Wendy was treated at a residential wellness facility to attempt to stabilize her and address her erratic behavior. Okay, y'all. Look, if you read real fast and you just don't really think about it too hard, that sounds fine. But another way to read this sentence, indeed, within a month of commencing filming, Wendy was treated at a residential wellness facility to attempt to stabilize her and address her erratic behavior. I think another way to word that could be within a month of them starting to expose what was really going on with Wendy, someone who had the legal authority to do so put her away to medically, quote, stabilize her and, quote, address. Does she say treat? Does she say treat? No, she's telling on herself. She's telling on herself. She's telling on herself, in my opinion. Address. Do you want somebody in charge of your freaking medical autonomy rights who characterizes your behavior as your erratic behavior as something needed to be addressed or treated? Not treat her distressing symptoms. No, address her behavior. I'm just saying. Thanks so much, Jennifer, for the $5 super chat. Princeton in the house. Love everything you do. World would not be the same without you. Thank you for that $5 super chat. Shout out to Princeton. Princeton in the house. You know, the other day, Jason Lee made a statement about Wendy saying Wendy always invited him over no matter what, call him no matter what, and she hasn't heard or seen her. It was when he said it. Let's read further. I want to get through as much of this as possible because, I don't want to run out of energy and we only did 8 pages. But yeah, she was locked up in treatment. I don't know if she was allowed to leave. I don't know if it was in Florida. I don't know anything more than what y'all know. I'm reading it from this page right here. Again, citing tabloids. Section D, the contract between the Wendy Experience and E1, not before, but after filming began. Defendant E1, with the assistance and input of defendants Ford, so all the people, the documentary people, eventually drafted a one-sided, quote, on-camera talent agreement in an attempt to legitimize their unsavory and exploitative project. Okay, so after they began filming, then they decided to draft this agreement up, this contract up for Wendy. Is what Sabrina Morrissey is saying. Paragraph 26. This agreement was submitted after Wendy had already been filmed by these people, and she was clearly disheveled, not mentally present, and she was confused. No person who witnessed her in these circumstances could possibly have believed that she was capable of consenting either to an agreement to film or to the filming itself. The contract was executed January 25th, 2023 by the Wendy Experience, which is an entity or a business controlled by Will Selby. Mr. Selby, that's the purported manager. The contract also bears a printed, not cursive signature, purporting to be the signature of Wendy, but it looks nothing like Wendy's signature, which is visually distinct. Now, I don't know if the file just got corrupted as I was trying to download this, but as you can clearly see, some way or another, the document that I have access to that I have downloaded from publicly, it doesn't have the signature of the contract. It's just a big square. I don't know what that's about. Now there's Wendy Hunter's signature right here. You can see. But purportedly, this is supposed to be like showing you that it's very different signatures. But I mean, it's not in here, so I don't know. The next paragraph says, apart from the signature, which does not appear to be genuine, there is no evidence that Wendy signed the contract. Okay, so they're going to get into a dispute over Wendy even signed it. In all events, Wendy was incapacitated and unable to consent. This is the guardian saying this, because who has the ability to consent? Only the guardian. And this is a legal arrangement. And this has been ordered by a court that Wendy's rights have been assigned to a guardian. Pursuant to the contract, the Wendy Experience agreed to lend Wendy's services to the filming company for the filming of a reality television show. Okay, so they wanted to film a reality television show starring Wendy. The contract further provides that Wendy would be credited as an executive producer for the program, a fact that defendants have relied on, implying that Wendy endorsed the program. I did kind of take it to mean that. When I saw that it was executive produced by Wendy Williams, I did kind of take it to mean that she was rubber stamping it coming out. I did. Put a 1 in the chat if you did too. Put a 2 if you did not. Although defendants were well aware a guardian had been appointed for Wendy, the guardian was not involved in the creation of the program nor the contract, and was not shown a copy of the contract until months after it was purportedly executed. Okay. So she's saying they never told her, and they knew about me and they never told me. Paragraph 30. Indeed, none of the defendants ever gained the guardian's consent for Wendy's participation in the film. So this again, she's reiterating she's pissed that nobody came and asked her. But it's almost like she only just had the authority on paper, right? Because like she didn't really have any type of day-to-day authority over Wendy because she didn't even figure it out for days. She didn't even figure it out at all. There was a days-long period going on where Wendy was being filmed. People were coming in and out of her apartment rather. So the guardian is only mad because on paper, they didn't ask about her, they didn't ask her permission to interview her property. I mean, that's kind of how it feels to me. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Put a 2 in the chat if you don't. Yeah, I shouldn't know. Wendy Williams in the doc seemed thrilled and believed she was going to make a comeback to TV. I mean, I see a lot of 1s. I'm looking for a 2. Go feed your chickens, Hope. All right. So the guardian, look, nobody asked the guardian's consent for Wendy to participate in the film. And there was no way Wendy could have consented because I own her. I mean, excuse me, because she was incapacitated prior to and during filming, which means she couldn't have legally consented because someone took away her right to do that. Pursuant to the orders issued by the court in the guardianship proceedings, the guardian was not permitted to discuss Wendy with defendants. The guardian explained this to Mr. Selby. The guardian, that's Sabrina Morrissey, also told Mr. Selby that she and perhaps even the justice in the guardianship proceeding. Okay, so listen to this, what she had said. The guardian said to Will Selby, she was going to have to watch and approve the final product. So really, she wanted that final creative control. And she said, not only that, but the judge and the conservatorship might even need to see it to make sure y'all ain't going to make him look too bad or whatever. I mean, I don't know. You can read it right there on the screen, what it says. Section E. The guardian's discovery of the contract and E1's false representation regarding the program. Okay. So she's going to talk about how she found out about the contract. Sabrina Morrissey, the guardian, says on March 14th, 2023, after Sabrina Morrissey learned of the contract, a court-appointed attorney representing Wendy spoke with the lawyers for the documentary company. Okay, so we're in March 2023, March of last year. The guardian learns that there is this documentary contract going on. And then the lawyer for Wendy, the court imposed lawyer, reaches out to E1, the Entertainment One media company, for the first time last year, March 2023, and explained Wendy was not in a position to consent to the contract. Okay, so the two owners, court imposed on Wendy Williams, from what I understand. I mean, again, everything is sealed. I really don't know. But from what I understand, Wendy has two people imposed upon her that she didn't get to choose. One, the guardian, Sabrina Morrissey. And this is from what I understand. Number two, the court-appointed attorney. Okay. So Sabrina and the court-appointed attorney are in the legal position of authority over Wendy Williams's rights. And they are contacting this documentary company, or sorry, excuse me, the lawyer is, and saying Wendy doesn't have the legal permission. Right. Wendy doesn't have the right. We are saying Wendy doesn't have the right to consent to being in a documentary for y'all to tell the world what's going on. Wendy doesn't have the right because we have the right. What is the difference between this and slavery? Someone tell me. I'll drop the link. I'll drop the link for you to come on and tell me what's the difference. Thank you, Claire, for the $1.99 pound super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you, New Life Plan, for the $4.99. Oh Lord, reality shows like Chaos, Brit, K-Fed, and Robin China. They use them to scoop them. That is a good point. Thank you for the $4.99. Yep. I could see that Price. Price said, I heard when they would do those old reality shows like Jessica Simpson's, they would use production as an excuse to plant unapproved cameras and microphones. I bet so. I don't know. Did she speak about this? I don't know, Jennifer. Ungovernable said 911. Okay. The Guardian's discovery. Okay. So she didn't have the right. On two phone calls, March 14th and 15th, last year, 2023, E1's in-house attorney, Jada Jones, and the other attorney, Blossom Left Court, assured Wendy Williams' court-appointed attorney that no footage of Wendy would be used or released unless or until an agreement could be reached and approved by the Guardian. And that the final product would portray Wendy's comeback and show her in a positive light. Okay. So these two lawyers from the media company basically said like, yeah, you'll have final edit. No problem. It says the Guardian did not try to stop the filming because she was actively misled about defendants' activities and treatment of Wendy and was unaware of the damaging way that Mr. Ford, his crew, and the remaining defendants were filming Wendy. Again, I renew my question. Why was she unaware? What, isn't that her job to know what's going on? Sounds like Mr. Selby should have been the Guardian from the sounds of this. At least he knew what was going on every day. She believed with Mr. Selby's oversight, Wendy was being treated properly. So she believed that Mr. Selby was overseeing Wendy's treatment and she was being treated properly with respect and dignity. She was even texted pictures during filming that showed Wendy on set, professionally made up, well-dressed, looking beautiful and happy. Okay. So Sabrina just took some pictures for it. She didn't bother to go and actually check and make sure Wendy was actually even alive and freaking well. Nope. She just was like, oh, thanks for the pictures. Cool. Thanks. Never went to go check on her. It's almost like whenever Larry Rabb wanted Amanda into a conservatorship so damn bad, but then when he finally got her in a court-ordered treatment, he didn't even go and visit her one time in Las Vegas, and then she died at that facility. He never went to visit her. So it's like Sabrina wants to be in charge of somebody's rights, but she don't want to She sure don't want to be abreast of the situation of what's going on. Here's the pictures that he sent to her. Okay. The Guardian was reassured by the images she saw, but she didn't bother and go check herself. By Mr. Selby's representations that the project would be a positive experience for Wendy, and that it would be and that would help introduce her podcast, should one be created later, and by defendant's March 14th and 15th representations to the court appointed attorney. Okay, so it sounds to me like she's just trying to defend herself. It sounds to me like she's just trying to explain how this could happen on her watch, really. No one viewing the photographs could have possibly imagined what Mr. Ford and his crew were really planning. Well, listen, if Sabrina can't possibly imagine it, she has absolutely no business at all whatsoever being a celebrity guardian, because they will do any and everything to and around and about and for and at a celebrity. Okay. Like there's nothing they won't do. So you need to have a very creative imagination, or you need to get into a different profession. Had the Guardian known, she says, that Mr. Ford and his crew were taunting, goading, and tormenting Wendy, all of this happened while this Guardian had a duty to make sure this was not happening to Wendy. While Mr. Ford and his crew were taunting, goading, and tormenting Wendy, the Guardian would have stopped filming immediately. She was told by Mr. Selby that the film crew wanted to film Wendy meeting with her elderly father in Florida. No discussion took place about filming Wendy with her other family members. And look, this is another one that just rubs me the wrong way. I'm sorry it does. I'm sorry it just does, and I have to point it out. I have to. This woman is saying in court documents with her full chest, as if it's a really good reason to take her side on this argument, that nobody asked her, the Guardian's, the owner's permission for her property, Wendy Williams, to speak with her who? Family. You see what I mean? Like, the Guardian was told by Mr. Selby that the film crew wanted to film Wendy meeting with her elderly father in Florida. No discussion took place. Nobody asked me, is what she's saying, about filming Wendy with other family members or in any other context. Your Honor, can you believe the nerve, the bold-faced, unmitigated gall and audacity of this Mr. Selby who's with Wendy every single day? I have no idea what in the hell is going on. Can you imagine? Can you believe it, Your Honor? They didn't ask my permission for Wendy to talk to her family. Your Honor, they didn't ask my permission for Wendy to talk to her family. The Guardian consented to Wendy visiting her father in Florida. Similarly, no discussion ever took place between the Guardian or Mr. Selby about Wendy's other family members being filmed. Well, now this person wants to give permission for any and every other family member to appear. She has to give this woman wanted to give permission, have to be the one that got to give permission for any of Wendy's family members to appear in the documentary. And she's saying it in like she's mad that they didn't ask her permission. I mean, this is the entitlement that these people have to our rights. Okay. This is obscene. It's obscene in my opinion. It's absurd in my opinion. I do not consent to it. And I believe that this should be outlawed. I do not believe conservatorships and guardianships should be allowed to function in this way. No, I do not. That you're going to keep a very, very famous person from being able to be shown in what is going on and what was going on as far as what I could see. Maybe it was a dishonest edit. Maybe it was a misleading edit. But from what I could see, this Guardian was nowhere to be found, didn't have a damn clue. She was playing Marco freaking Polo as far as wherever in the hell in the entire United States Wendy Williams was. And now she wanted to also have to give her permission for any other family member to be filmed in the project, apparently. I mean, tell me what is this? No consent was ever given by the Guardian for Wendy to travel to California for filming. So nobody asked her permission for Wendy to travel. And this is where we live, y'all. We live in a country. We live in a country and we live in a place. Not to be an alarmist. But we live here where somebody you never met in your damn life, somebody you never ever met in your entire life, has the right not only to approve and, whatever, sign contracts for you and stuff like that. No, 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 no. To restrict your freaking travel. A fundamental constitutional right. This isn't like, oh, we're slippery sloping. No. Wendy Williams's guardian is pissy in a court filing, which is now in federal court. Because she wasn't asked for Wendy to travel to California. This is all happening because a bank employee subordinate to Wendy in that customer relationship, even if you want to respect the capitalistic structure, the bank employees initiated a guardianship, a guardianship ownership, a guardianship of the person's inalienable constitutional rights. And the races of these individuals is not lost on me either, without getting into too much explicit detail. The freaking little horse and buggy on the Wells Fargo logo is enough. Yes, you can clip this section. Yes, you can. It keeps me up at night. Keeps me up at night. Okay, yeah, exactly. I mean, some of y'all are saying you worked at a bank, you saw elderly getting taken advantage of. I'm not stupid, y'all. I know that elderly people get taken advantage of, but this is not acceptable. The release of the trailer. In May 2023, immediately after Wendy was diagnosed, she finally got him diagnosed in May, okay? She began to receive 24/7 care in a protected environment. So she was locked up, seemingly against her will. Immediately when they got that diagnosis, they locked her up. After that, defendants repeatedly sought to access her, probably to even make sure she was even okay, but also to film additional footage. For Wendy's protection, Sabrina Morrissey refused to allow any further filming of Wendy. The Guardian also declined all requests to be interviewed by media sources, as she is under a court order to refrain from discussing Wendy. As the month passed in 2023 and into early 2024, Sabrina reasonably assumed that the project was defunct, given that no contract was ever finalized and that Wendy was obviously not working on a podcast or focusing on her career at that time. And why was it so obvious that she was not working on a podcast or focusing on her career? Because she was locked up in the 24/7 care facility and now she can't talk to her family. And who has the legal right to do that? Is it Wendy Williams? Nope. Her family? Also nope. Her doctor? No. Nope. Her agent? Nope. Manager? Nope. Longtime friend? Nope. Hidden secret closet lover? Nope. Ex-husband? Nope. Nope. None of those people. It's a guardian that got appointed because the bank employees didn't like how Wendy was spending her money. Yep. That's where we live. It just makes me sick. It makes me sick. As the month passed, let's see, then on February 2nd, 2024, without any notice whatsoever to Sabrina, they didn't give Sabrina any notice. Oh my God. Alert the freaking media. A&E released a salacious promotional trailer for the program and announced that it would air on Lifetime Networks in 2 segments on February 24th and 25th. The trailer presents Wendy's tragic decline as an entertainment spectacle. opening with scenes from the height of her career, the trailer invites viewers to contrast these clips with more recent footage obtained by defendants, in which Wendy is shown disheveled and disoriented and often appears half dressed. Her emotional state fluctuates wildly. She repeatedly yells, even shouting, when in New York City, quote, "I have no idea where we are." Sabrina Morrissey says, quote, "The obvious purpose of the trailer is to invite the audience to gawk at Wendy's cognitive and physical decline, which trailer suggests is attributable to alcohol use." The trailer depicts Wendy in an extraordinarily degrading and humiliating manner. As a February 2nd, 2024 Los Angeles Times article states, Wendy is shown inebriated, struggling to stand, tearful, and seemingly suffering memory loss, all while insisting to friends and family she is of sound mind. The release of the trailer and the related footage caused a firestorm of negative publicity and attention for Wendy, although prior to its release, defendants had been informed by Wendy's family members that Wendy was diagnosed with dementia. No mention of the cognitive condition was made in the trailer. Okay, so this is weird because even according to her own filing that I'm reading right now, as soon as Wendy was diagnosed, she was put away, locked away, 24/7 facility. And the Guardian cut off contact with her being able to do filming anymore. Okay. So they were in contact with Wendy, and then they weren't able to get in contact with her at all. I mean, as far as they knew they hadn't heard a word from Wendy. I mean, they probably were worried. I actually think as the public, we have the right to know that that was what was going on. I think so. Okay. So then it goes on. Defendants' marketing of the program explicitly portrayed Wendy as a laughingstock and a drunkard, implicitly responsible for her own continued suffering. Unflattering pictures and footage of Wendy, including photographs of her in a wheelchair with her legs spread, were dredged up and widely published across all forms of media, inviting the public to gawk and jeer at Wendy's fall from grace and her physically debilitated condition. Wendy was even displayed in the trailer and subsequent program episodes without her famous wig, her head nearly bald. The Guardian was stunned and appalled by this, as Wendy insists on wearing her wig for all meetings. She would never, ever have consented and allowed herself to be filmed. Well, but here's the thing. You just told us that she doesn't have the legal ability or the capacity to legally consent to these things. So where were you, Sabrina Morrissey? Where were you, baby girl? You let this happen. Wendy, it was adjudicated under a court of law. It was adjudicated that Wendy doesn't have capacity to make the decisions of consent, right? That's your job. So where were you? Alicia said Wendy went to the bank and tried to clear her account, and the bank didn't like it. And I have a theory. Yes, it is a theory. Conspiracy theory alert. I have a theory that the banks are in on it. Now, when I say that, what do I mean? Every single thing that ever happened? No. But I think there's some bankers at some banks that have control of celebrity estates. I've had this thought about Lou Taylor. This is just a theory. I don't have any proof for this. But Alicia's comment brings it up in my mind. I think when the celebrities try to move all their money at once because they already have a lot of it, like, wrapped up with Vanguard and BlackRock and State Street and whatever McKinsey told them to invest in and whatever. You can't just move $600 million cash from a bank. No, lots of stuff has to happen. When you're at that level, they will shut you down. It's terrifying. I don't ever want to have that much money in a freaking bank. Like I said, there's no way around it. Wendy has all this money. Where was she supposed to store it? But in a bank. It's a ticking time bomb. The bank can just decide one day, no, you're out of your mind. No, the banker needs to be your freaking guardian. Yep. And it's these famous people. And that there's all of this financial incentive to keep them in a guardianship, because think about just Britney's money alone. Let's say it was a measly $25 million even. Let's say it's $25 million. I know it's worth probably 100 times that, but let's just say $25 million moving from one bank to another overnight, willy-nilly. I mean, I can imagine that there's some pretty significant and substantial stocks, economies, whatever that could be affected by that. Thank you, Alicia, for the 99-cent super sticker. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there. Ungovernable. I really do not know. Sabrina has been paid millions, Shireen said. This has been going on for years. I don't know. I would like to know how Sabrina Morrissey ended up becoming the guardian. That is what I would like to know. If anybody knows, point me in that direction. Despite the disturbing nature of the trailer, in which Wendy appears obviously cognitively impaired and confused, defendants falsely insisted to the press that Wendy had executive produced the program and suggested, among other inaccurate things, her approval of the final product. This was a blatant lie. Wendy never even saw the trailer or the program before they aired, much less did she endorse them. Yeah, well, because she was locked up and not allowed to talk to them anymore. Right? I mean, this isn't even being hidden. Like, Sabrina is saying this to us. She told us why why Wendy didn't participate, because the guardian decided she did not want to let Wendy participate. So it's not Wendy's choice. She's acting like they never let her see it. How do we know that they weren't going to? Thank you, Blue, for the $2 super chat. They would lose the ability to make loans on twice the I mean, yeah, they can do what they want. They can do what they want. The Guardian was completely shocked and horrified by the trailer, which flew in the face of the assurances that Wendy would be treated with dignity and respect and would be depicted in a positive light. On February 22nd, 2024, the Guardian sought and obtained an ex parte temporary restraining order. So she actually got a restraining order, stopping the documentary from coming out. In the papers supporting her application, she affirmed under oath that Wendy lacked capacity to consent to the contract. And Wendy was diagnosed with this disorder. It's almost like they were trying to diagnose her with it to make sure that the documentary didn't come out, but I don't know. The Guardian obtained a court order temporarily sealing the action. So not only did they hide the documentary from coming out, but she was hiding from the public the documents. And it just makes me wonder, like, how often, like, all these celebrities, it's just like these people just run to the courts and they're just like, oh, it's a public figure. We got to keep it a big secret. Like, no one can know about the public figure. And then it just gets sealed. It's aggravating. She got a court order sealing the action in light of the court orders that sealed the guardianship proceeding. And that is the action that we're talking about here in this very case. The financial and health information within hours of defendants being served, copies of the temporary restraining order motion papers were leaked to multiple press outlets in blatant violation of the court's orders. That same day, Wendy's care team issued a press release publicly announcing Wendy's diagnoses. So they're trying to all get in this press wars, right? Like, A&E is running to the media saying, look, they're trying to block the documentary from coming out. And then the care team is running to the media, revealing Wendy Williams' private health information nobody freaking asked them for. Then A&E and E1 appealed, and the appeals court took away that restraining order, saying, no, that's a violation of the First Amendment right. We can't prior restrain something from coming out. The appellate division vacated the temporary restraining order as impermissible prior restraint on speech. allowing the program to be aired without being reviewed first by the guardian or the justice. Okay, so she's pissed that there's a First Amendment right to make a documentary without asking her approval before it comes out. Pissed. She's not shocked. Next section, the release of the program. Undeterred by the public revelation of Wendy's diagnoses and by the Guardian's affirmation that Wendy had lacked the capacity to consent to the contract, not to mention their own knowledge of Wendy's diagnosis of dementia, defendants shamelessly doubled down on their scheme to profit from the footage they had wrongfully captured. They did so despite their full awareness that the program depicted a severely disabled woman who was not in control of her behavior and who had lost the ability to make conscious, informed decisions throughout the filming. In a recent interview, okay, so Sabrina's argument, and very importantly, rests on the assumption that Wendy had the authority to consent to the filming at first, maybe, but it was actually literally between the time that the documentary film started filming and like today that she was like steadily declining. So it's like they're not even trying to say that Wendy, it's like almost like, wow, what a convenient way to keep this documentary from coming out. Just like it was very convenient that just as Bam Margera was suing MTV and Paramount, just as he was suing for his rights on the Jackass 4 movie, he was put in a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week rehab also in Florida. Yeah, remember that? I'm just a little bit beside myself. I do want to just run my sponsored ad one more time. This video is sponsored. It's sponsored by me. It's sponsored by That Surprise Witness TV. BJ Investigates merch. Tomorrow is your last day to order these. They lied merch. Last day to order those. And see these right here? There's only 2 of these left in the size extra small. 2 of those left. There's only 1 of these left in the size extra small, and they're going to be all sold out. So that's all that's left for that run of merch. After these 2 are sold out, it's 2 extra small white hoodies and 1 extra small shirt. And after that, there's no more faxing and defamation merch in that particular style run for the time being. I am a little bit out of steam at this point, so we're going to have to pick this up later, but thank you all for hanging out with me on this Sunday. If you'd like to donate to the legal fund, please do so. I am having to fight for my life out here and my First Amendment rights, speaking of First Amendments rights, and that's all I really had for it right now. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, and neither is reading a guardianship filing, girl. Love you, mean, okay, bye.